everybody. Welcome back to Kruse Control. It's Monday, May 8th, 2023. Welcome to Kruse Control, the home of entertainment news. I am your host, as always, Brian Kruse. Welcome back on this beautiful Monday. It's a great Monday, right? And here we are again, and joining me, as always, is the lovely Miss Sabrina Vittori. Sabrina, welcome back to the program. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, great. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Doing great. How's your Monday?
It was good. Fairly uneventful. Back in LA, so I was back at my regular job today, which was a little bit weird, but also awesome. So yeah, traffic, 2 thumbs down as per usual.
Welcome back to LA.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter what's happened, traffic's going down. Even though there's a writer's strike, people are still working all over town. So that's how it goes. And also joining us back on Kruse Control, I think this is the 3rd, maybe 4th time, I'm not really sure, the host and creator of IPA Sessions podcast, the man himself, Jacob Rolland. Jacob, welcome back to the program. How you doing tonight?
Hey guys, thanks for having me back. I'm doing great. I'm enjoying this unexpected vacation. Well, it was kind of expected. It was an expected vacation.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we kind of, as the deadline was getting closer and closer and closer, and nothing was budging. And I said before, over the last weekend, where it was like before May 1st, that if there was no deal reached by Saturday, I thought the strike was happening. I said it for sure. And then, of course, no deal. Bam, we're striking. So that's where we're at right now. And unfortunately, a lot of people are down from work, but the writers are fighting for, the right pay they deserve, and the studio needs to give, I think. But that's a whole thing we're going to get into here tonight for sure, because it's affecting everybody in town right now. And it's affecting you in a way that you don't know yet, because a lot of people haven't seen it yet, but unless you're watching talk shows and stuff like that, but all your content will slowly be pushed. And that's just,
hey, you know what though? It gives me plenty of time to work on my other projects, like my podcast. So any artists out there looking to just do something, hit me up. Come on, share your story. Let's talk.
Yeah. Jacob, you've been here before, but tell us a little bit more about your podcast for everybody out there in case it's the first time seeing you on the program.
IPA Sessions. It's a podcast for independent artists. It's a place where I like to try and provide inspirations for practical applications in entertainment. So I bring on many different guests who are all artists of artists of all varieties. I have musicians, actors, filmmakers, dancers, illustrators, authors, just you name it. If you do it, I want to have you on the show. And I just have them speak and basically share their experience, their journey, their personal day-to-day of what they go through, and then technical how-to breakdowns, so that anyone out there looking to do what they do and feels like, well, I can't be a filmmaker. Well, why don't you listen to my buddy Darren? He's a filmmaker. Why don't you listen to, my friend Nick? He's a filmmaker. Listen to these guys tell their story and what they do and how they went about doing it, and realize that you can do it too. You just have to accept the reality and the facts, and everyone shares it. They share the ups and the downs, all the struggles. You've been on in the first season. You shared a lot of that. And I think it really helps encourage people to be like, okay, I know what the reality is. I know what to expect, but I can do this. And that's the whole goal. It's just to provide inspiration.
And it's a lot of fun to listen to your conversations. It is. And there's a lot of people out there that are just kicking ass out here, and they're in Jacob's show, and they're able to tell their story, which is fantastic. Yeah. Darren's been the program himself, so that was fun to have him here too, talking to him as well. So it was great. It's great. And we're happy Sabrina are going to be recording again for you soon. So tomorrow, actually. So look for that coming as well, everybody. Yeah. Got to cross promote, got to work with each other. That's how it works. That's his business, because it's it is a lot of fun. But you know what else I'm excited about, though, Jacob?
What you got?
I'm excited about some breaking news! All right, everybody, I'm going to dive right into the very first thing I want to talk about, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And we're not going to do too much spoiler stuff tonight. We're waiting. It was only the first weekend's gone by. People are trying to spoil shit all the time, but Guardians 3 opened. Okay, it made $118.4 million domestically. Worldwide, it made $289.3 million. Now, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's not as good as the last one. The last one made, at total, it made 146.1 million in the United States as opposed to 118. So it's made a little less overall, but it has good momentum. Hopefully it keeps going. And, if you compare it to other places, like you think about Doctor Strange, made 187 opening weekend. Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania, that made 170 million opening weekend. So it's not quite with those, but it's still doing good. It's still over $100 million opening weekend. They've almost made their budget back of $250 million in one weekend, which is a good win for Marvel. And hopefully it does well, being James Gunn's potentially last movie and potentially the last Guardians movie out there. If you look at them like comparison for Rotten Tomatoes, the first one had like a 92% critic, 92% audience. The second one, 80% critic, and then an 87% fans. And then this new one had an 82% critic and a 95% fans. So Guardians of the Galaxy, though, so they compare. I mean, this isn't really the highest ranked one, but it's in the middle. And I know the critics kind of were trashing it a little bit, which is unfortunate. I think it's a fun movie. I saw it over the weekend, and I think that
trash it. James Gunn's done with it anyway. He's moved on. Yeah. He's recreating the whole DC universe. Marvel's done. Let's go. Let's go, James Gunn. Let's do this.
Yeah, it's time to move on for him. And honestly, it's a good send-off if you're a fan of them. Again, it's a send-off in a lot of ways. They all said it. So it's fun. It's really sad, though. It's really sad. So get ready to cry a little bit when you go to see this, because I think Sabrina cried a little bit during it. Just a little bit, huh, Sabrina? Well, as that's coming to theaters right now, something that was going away, but now apparently is not going away, is SWAT. Because before this, over the weekend, let's say Friday, they canceled SWAT. They're like, we're done. Even though it's been doing great with the ratings, they're like, we're canceling at CBS because it's all been about a rights thing. So they canceled it. They couldn't work it out. Then I guess over the weekend, they started talking some more. And then right before we came on, actually, they settled in SWAT is coming back. Now, how do you do this? Well, less episodes. Always 13 episode season for season 7. It'll end the whole program. Shamar Moore was out there being like, we have to make this happen. He was commenting and tweeting over the weekend. There were a lot of fans coming forward being like, we need to save this. Thought it was all dead in the water until this morning. And all of a sudden it said, well, there were talks continuing and it's been working it out. And Sony and CBS figured it out. Less episodes and you're getting more stuff. So part 2 right now, season 6 is airing and the finale airs on May 19th on CBS. So if you're a fan of the show, this is probably some great news for you because your program's not done, even though we thought it was going to be done. Like I was like, oh, this is over with. And I was shocked too, because it's like, if the ratings are going up and it's doing well, then why do you cancel it? Then again, it's money. It's all money. As what's happening right now in the business, there's so much talk about money, 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 money.
Ironically, they're able to negotiate SWAT, but not the writer's contract. So congratulations for that.
Working hard on that.
Money, money, money.
We better work on SWAT before we deal with the greater entertainment industry. Let's just deal with SWAT first and see how that turns out.
Yeah, that's
I'm
something
glad they have jobs. Good for them.
They have jobs. And the thing is, like, they won't be shooting right now because
not now they don't have jobs, but once this whole thing gets resolved,
they'll have a job. I mean,
they
that's
have something to look
forward
to.
Yeah, and they're already on vacation.
I didn't even watch this show, but I know a lot of people who've worked on it. I'm happy for fans out there that they get a chance to get their show one last season, and it's nice because it's the final season, so they'll get to write it off and like end the show well. Hopefully, if they have good writers.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully,
we'll see what happens. But I think that's good news for the fans. Me personally, I'm not into it. I haven't watched it. There's a lot of shows like that I've worked on, and they all feel the same after a while. But for those who enjoy it, I'm glad they're going to get an ending that they deserve. Because as a fan of other films and shows, I want what I'm supposed to get when it comes to that. I want the fan service. I want the good ending. So
you want to be happy with the ending, and honestly, it's like a lot of times it doesn't happen. And it's like so unfortunate that you invest so much time. 6 seasons is a long time. That's a lot of time to be watching as an audience member. And they were in their 20 episodes, 20 episodes a season, 22. So if you do something like that, it's like, it's a lot of time that you don't have in regular TV shows these days. Just have it pulled out from under the rug with you, and then you don't have anything to watch. It's unfortunate for the fans, for the cast, for the crew, for everybody involved in the process, because it is a lot of people that work on this, and a lot of people demand they actually need this. They rely on this for a job and for a living. Sabrina, you haven't watched SWAT, have you? Has this been a thing that you're a fan of, or are you thinking whatever?
I mean, no, it's like the thing, like pretty much what Jacob was saying, all these procedural shows kind of, just fall into the same loop basically. And, if I haven't watched it, so I don't know, but I would assume that it's very easy to watch a standalone episode. It's not like a continuing storyline where like you would be lost if you came in on season 3, episode 6. Seems like something I'd have on in the background while I clean and do laundry. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So for me, I don't really give a shit if it has a good ending or not, because it's one of those procedural standalone shows. So like, I'm sure if you were religiously watching this every week, like you would want that. But for me, it's like, I might put this on USA in the background in syndication while I'm doing things. But, those shows are always, they're great because you don't have to watch them from the beginning. You can pop in anywhere on NCIS or CSI or Law and Order, like
Yeah.
anywhere, and you can I
Be
can
right
watch
in
this
it.
episode, and it's a complete full episode with arcs, and you're like, okay, this is what happened, and you're totally cool with that. So I do appreciate this type of show, but it's not something that I would religiously watch.
It's a type of show that it's nothing but filler. That's what's neat about it too. It's
Yeah.
like it's all filler. There really isn't, with procedural shows like that, there's no actual story. It's kind of like the X-Files, they had every season you had like 4 main episodes that was the story arc, and then everything in between was fillers. And it's like with shows like that, they're all just this procedural. That's it. They're just procedural. Like Sabrina was saying, just put it on in the background. It's good if you're trying to do something and you just want some noise.
Yeah, just enjoy it, and it's great noise too, and it's fun. There, people are talented on. Let's say there's anything wrong with their talent. It's just they're very episodic, and it's sort of like end all be all, one story done. That's it. Good for them though. They're coming back because a lot of people don't get an opportunity to get an ending, just like the Goldbergs. Because the Goldbergs, honestly, after 10 seasons, are getting a little bit bamboozled, if you ask me. Yeah, I said bamboozled, because apparently after the season 10 ending happened, they weren't told they were canceled until like 2 days afterwards and 2 days before their wrap party. So they shot the whole season and that was it. And they went home thinking, we're going to come back for a season 11 probably, and then they were done. And then the writers themselves too were saying this is a big thing they didn't know, which is huge on them because the show started back in 2013. After 10 seasons, you think you'd be able to give it a good finale. And they didn't have the opportunity they wanted. So they did a little bit of clip, a little bit of like going back in time and showing some things and doing a little montage, which works, it works really well.
They did what they could work with, that was it.
That's all they could do. But they said they had their druthers, though. They would have had Erica with a new husband and a baby. They would have had Beverly potentially finding someone new to fall in love with. Adam getting a girlfriend and then driving off into the future. Barry getting married. There's a lot of things they wanted to see. They wanted to see the children when they were young and then grow up to become old. And they weren't able to do that. And that was the idea from day one. And it's like unfortunate that they had an idea that would have been a great ending. And it worked, what they did. I watched the little montage at the end. It worked. But honestly, it would have been better for them to know they were going into. It's always better to know you're going into your last episode. Were you a fan of this at all, Jacob? Did you watch the Goldbergs?
Oh yeah, I was a huge fan of it, especially when it first started. I really enjoyed it for those first 4 to 6 seasons. It did start to get a little procedural, even sitcom. I mean, sitcom's formulaic. It's a necessity that we all have when it comes to those type of shows. But I like those shows and I really enjoy them. And what I really liked about, the Goldbergs was the fact that it was all in the 80s. It followed this kid who was obsessed with film and, was a huge nerd, and just the way it covered pop culture at that time. It was really funny to me. The cast was amazing. It dwindled near the last, I'd say 2 to 3 seasons, but I still watched it. I would still put it on, check it out. And so I watched the finale just the other night and I didn't realize, I was like, oh, the show just ended. Like, that's how I found out. I was like, this looks like a finale, like a show finale. But the episode itself was, just an episode. There was nothing special about it. Other than, it was talking about Back to the Future, which was a great,
Back to the Future,
interesting way to end it on. But, I'm upset because, like I said earlier, as a fan, I did want some kind of special episode. Like the creators had an idea for this. They knew what they wanted to do for an ending. And if they had just been aware or had been told sooner, they could have done that instead. And I think that would have been nice as a fan. But I'm hoping maybe if, we throw up enough fuss and by the time the strike is over and people are hungry for work, maybe they'll give us like a little special hour movie, Goldberg's finale. That would be kind of cool. There's always potential for that with some of these sitcoms that get canceled. They'll do those little special videos at the end. So maybe that'd be nice. But
because
I just a little upset that like it just ended. I was like, really, this is it? Like, I know I didn't really care that much in the last 2 seasons, but I was still here. I was still watching. Give me something worth my time that I invested. like, what are you gonna do?
Give me a spin-off ending.
Yeah, don't give me a Walking Dead bullshit ending. Like, come on now.
The Walking Dead's not done. We know that. I mean, they got 3 spinoffs coming too.
I'm done with it. I don't want to watch 6 different shows just to know what's going on. I'm good.
You gotta watch in Paris and London.
This is coming from a horror fan too. So what does that tell you?
I know, right? Sabrina, were you a fan of the Goldbergs? Are you? What do you think about this ending idea? Think they should have had that idea, or think it's fine having this little clip show at the end and wrapping it up?
I never really got into the Goldbergs, if I'm being perfectly honest. I do think that they were all very talented cast. I hate the fucking 80s, to be perfectly honest. I know you love the 80s, but the fashion is abysmal. The music was not great. Like it was just, it's like for me a lost decade. Like if you pick any other decade, it's better, in my opinion, than the '80s was. Was just not my favorite.
Oh, come
Again,
on.
cast is great. No, I really hate it, and you know that.
I do.
That's a totally
So-
fair statement. The 80s is dead. Let's be done with it.
Yeah, it's like a bye Felicia with the '80s. But I'm not surprised, to be perfectly honest. Like the George Segal or however you say his last name, who played the grandpa, passed away, and then they had this whole thing with Jeff Garland where they made him die. So like you have two characters dying in a very short period of time. Main characters that were staples of the show, and then they like have this last season without them. Like I mean, you can't really expect a show to have gone on for that many seasons and you lose two of the main cast members and everyone's gonna be like, yeah, ever knew that again. Like, I mean, it makes sense to me that it didn't go again, honestly. And I don't really know what happened with the whole Jeff Garland situation. Chris says that it went downhill after they got rid of him. I don't know exactly what happened with that, but I feel like that is a big part of it. He was gone, the grandpa was gone.
He was raunchy. He was raunchy on set. I worked on the Goldbergs a lot. He was raunchy, but it was his comedic kind of thing. And I think he thought he was funny. And I guess some of the crew members didn't think it was funny. Same thing we talked about what happened on that Mystic Quest too, where one of the actors, where Dardal on there was saying some jokes and the showrunner had him fired, And the same thing happened with Garland, but it was going on for a long time because I worked in the
Creepy
Goldbergs.
Old dudes. That's what you're saying. They're creepy old dudes.
I thought Jeff was funny a lot of
syndrome.
times because I worked in there for a whole season. I thought he was funny, but I do see the problem. I mean, a man walking around in his whitey tighties doing inappropriate jokes, could be kind of weird. It's already an awkward situation as it is.
Was that his wardrobe though?
It was his wardrobe. Yes, it was his wardrobe.
Let's not be weird
But
about
I mean,
that.
it
He
adds
dresses on the show. Yeah.
It adds an element to the show, the weirdness though already. You know what I mean?
Comedian. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but also like I don't know. If I watch a show and I love all the cast members and I'm used to all the cast members, if you take two of those integral people away, I'm gonna have a hard time watching it. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to, but I mean I just really thought that the cast overall was great. Barry, the guy who played Barry Troy, was awesome. Such a fun guy. I know I've said it before, but I used to stand in for him, and he'd be like, "Hi, Paul Rudd." Every time I come on set, I'm like, "Hey, Barry. Hi, what's going on?"
My last show filmed next to the same stage that the Goldbergs were filming on this final season that they were filming.
Sony?
And you would see the guy who plays Barry, you'd see the woman that plays the older sister walking the lot and like throwing hacky sacks around. The crew would come out.
So
like,
nice.
They looked like they were having a ball. Like it actually looked like a show that would be fun to work on. Like they just seemed genuinely happy to be there, having a good time. And like, the ADs would come outside to wrangle them up and they'd all act like little kids and run around and like panic. Like, oh no, we're busted playing hacky sack outside. Like, it was just silly, but it looked so fun. I was like, wow, they look like they're having a great time. And I had to go back to work.
They threw a pizza at a PA because it was not the pizza that he wanted.
That's a dick move.
That's a dick move.
Do anything but
That's
work their ass off.
I worked on Curb Your Enthusiasm a couple times, and he was hilarious. Like a lot of it is improv. Like they kind of just give you an idea for a scene, and you have to go in there. And I was standing in, and I it was the only time ever in the history of working on any show that I did not leave set. Like I smoked at the time, and I wasn't going out and smoking cigarettes. I just wanted to watch them. Every take was different. Every take was hilarious. They were all super nice. So I'm not. Like I don't have any personal bad experience with him. He was a pleasure when I worked with him back, but this was like a long time ago before Curb Your Enthusiasm went away and then came back. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not surprised that it's over. That's all.
Me either. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's had its run. 10 seasons is a long time.
Long time, like especially for a sitcom. That's a long time.
Sitcom. Everybody else, situational comedy. What's the situation? Throw that cast in there and create the comedy. That's all it is. So that's just how it worked. It's been a working formula for years, and it worked for them for 10 years. And again, you have two main characters gone. At this point, it was time for the show to move on. They had problems in the past too, where it almost went away and it kept going. Like Sabrina said, like what Jacob saying, the cast were awesome. The crew were great. They were so much fun. They had short hours. They had blasts. They joked around. Everyone helped each other. It was a great environment, if you ask me. So whatever Jeff was doing later on, because I was there like season 7, season 8, something like that. And whatever he did beyond that in season 9, whatever happened, crazy shit happens in Hollywood. And unfortunately, this show did not get the fitting ending it deserved because after 10 seasons, it should have had it and didn't get it.
This was the 10th season?
Yep,
This is the
10th season. Yep.
Wow.
And I
right?
figured it was going to be ending. I felt that it was ending, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's got to be ending. And surely they should have known too. They should have had that feeling. But again, it was a big show that ran for so long. Like they just probably assumed like, oh, just get renewed again. But it's in its 10th season. They usually start to dwindle around 9 and 10.
Yep. And that's
Modern Family ended at 11.
And then that was, it just becomes time to go, you know, and a lot of casts don't want to keep doing it too. That's always the thing.
Yeah, Blackish made it to like 8, right? 7 or 8, or 9.
Yeah, I think it was 7. I think it was 7. We talked about Blackish the other day too. I think the spinoff got 6, which is crazy to me. I'm like, how did it get 6? Well, maybe it was 8 for Blackish, because
that sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds right because I think it was 6 for the
They have
spinoff.
like 2 different spinoffs now.
Oh,
that's another thing too. The show got canceled early, and yet it has 2 spinoff shows that are still going.
I don't know. It drives. I never watched. I mean, I've seen episodes.
That's usually what they do. They'll end a show and then do a spinoff.
Yeah,
like they overlap the spinoff a year or two, and then they end it. So it actually went longer than it normally.
They tried doing a spinoff for the Goldbergs too. It just didn't go. They shot the pilot and it just didn't work out. Yeah, it was about the principal and stuff.
I enjoyed it. I actually watched that show. I liked it because it was refreshing and it was set in the early 90s, and I was like, this is nice.
It's fun. It
went into the 90s and it worked. And I'm a 90s kid. So it's like, I get the nostalgia for the 80s and like, it's a fun time. And like, I grew up with all the leftover shit from the 80s, but like the 90s is my era. If you're going to start doing nostalgia shit, start doing the 90s.
Speaking of nostalgia shit though,
90s.
I know it's going to happen probably. But speaking of nostalgia stuff, Jacob, I bet you might be a fan of King of the Hill, maybe, because that's coming back.
Oh fuck yeah!
So King of the Hill
is the bastard propane.
King of the Hill is coming back as a revival here with Stephen, the original cast. Stephen Root was talking about it, saying they're going to jump in time because they want to age Bobby up a little bit and make him a little bit older. But he's coming back. They did their table reads back in April, and they've been putting stuff together. So now the show is moving forward, of course, by 20th Television Animation and Bandera Entertainment. And he said that he's excited about it. Like Stephen Root was like going to this whole interview about how it's going to be just so much fun to dive back into these characters again and do it again. And for me, I'm like, this is another show. I'm like, I'm not surprised. I feel like animation a lot of times they just dive back and look at South Park. Look at what was that? Family Guy disappeared and came back. Futurama did the same thing. Beavis and Butthead too. Mike Judge again. Beavis and Butthead went and came back, and now it's doing even better than it has for a long time on Paramount Plus.
I really love the new Beavis and Butthead.
It's been fun. I haven't seen it all, but it's been fun. I haven't watched the new season yet, but I watched the last season. I haven't watched the new one yet.
Well, there's no more music videos, as you know, because it doesn't exist in our world. But it's a ton of TikTok out there, so they're constantly watching TikTok videos, making fun of it. It's fucking hilarious. I love it. Which is
great. I mean, that's what they should do. Find a way to make it relevant to today. And that's how you do it, you know? Music videos are gone, so what else do you do? And it's even better for them to make fun of, you know? As opposed to the music videos back in the day. But yeah, Beavis and Butthead, everybody's back. Just like King of the Hill, though. Mike Judge was thrilled that his shows are doing so well.
I had been hearing rumors about this for the longest time, and we thought it was going to be Bobby Heel as an adult with his wife and his kid. And like maybe Hank and Peggy would be the grandparents that would show up. So like we knew this was happening, but now they're getting closer, you know, like it said in that article we read that, you know, they had a table read coming up. So like, this is good. This is set. They're ready. Like it's going to come out very soon. I'm so excited for this. A huge King of the Hill fan, a fantastic show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and it's moving forward pretty fast. Now, again, we have a pending writer. We have a pending and there's no end date, I should say. There's a writing strike. There's no end date for it. So everything's pending right now. So we have no idea when that'll be done, when they can get back to work. How many scripts are actually written? We have no idea. Now, if they're already written, they could be animating and going to work. But if it's not written, then they can't really do much again. Hopefully they've already started to kind of move on some of that. And hopefully that, you know, they had enough time to develop the scripts along. But again, as a lot of writers have been saying, you can't really do a lot without writers in the room while you're putting it together in post and in actual, you know, pre-production and production. So it's always a thing. Sabrina, were you a fan of King of the Hill at all? Are you excited about this coming back? Are you like, yeah, it's not for me? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, that's the dogs were barking. I apologize. I was a huge fan of King of the Hill back in the day when it came out. I also was a huge fan of Beavis and Butthead, but I'm unlike Jacob. I watched a couple episodes of Beavis and Butthead, and I was like, oh, I just couldn't get back on that horse for some reason. And I hope King of the Hill is not the same way because I really did enjoy that show a lot.
I hope King of the Hill comes out stronger. Yeah, I'm with you on that
Yeah,
one, Sabrina.
I mean, I don't know. It really, I mean, all the characters were so different and so weird and so funny. And like,
Boomhauer.
it's like a weird, like, I don't know. It's like a weird thing where like in an animation series, like that the characters are all like, it's not just like a surface individuality. You know what I mean? Like, which I feel like is huge for like, I mean, look at The Simpsons. It's been going on for like a bazillion years, but like every character is like, there's like no growth to any character ever. And I feel like King of the Hill, there was like a little bit of growth as it went on, like with the character, they learned things. Like, you know, like how many times does Homer do something dumb and go dough? Like, I mean, I love The
Dope.
Simpsons, but I'm just saying, like, there's no growth of character, there's no learning. And I feel like in King of the Hill, like as it went on, there was like a slight learning process with characters.
Oh, all the characters grew over time. I mean, just look at, you know, rest her soul, but you know, the passing of the
oh my god, I know.
Brittany Murphy, you know, her character in that show though,
Yeah.
she grew up so much throughout that series. You know, everything about her character was awesome. Bobby started growing up, you know, even Hank, you know, he grows as a character. He's a stubborn guy set in his ways, but even for that time that it came out, he was a very progressive Southern redneck, and I love that. It showcases, to me as someone who's from the South, that's a show that showcases the way, to me, the way I grew up, a lot of people really are. Almost every person in that show, every character that's a cartoon character in my life experience is someone that actually exists. I've met them all. I've met the Boomhauers. I've met the Doe Trees. I've met Hank and
awesome.
Peggy. I've met Bobby. Hell, I was Bobby growing up. Like, it's a part of life. Like, and it's real.
Damn it,
people.
Bobby.
I don't know you. That's my purse.
That's my purse.
That's one of my favorite episodes. And he kicks him in the nuts.
Great.
I'm like, yeah.
Kill Finny Man. Everyone has the old vet they do from church or something. I kill Finny Man. Like everyone knows that these characters, they're real to me, and so I absolutely love King of the Hill. And it's a fantastic 13-season show. It ended when it needed to end. They even had continuations and stories, or at least the seasons. They would continue stories over, like events happen, they would bring them up. It plays out. You know, they had, you know, two-parters, things like that. So I'm really excited with this I guess reboot to the franchise. What they're gonna do with it, and I hope that the same love that went in the first, you know, rendition. It comes back. I really want to see that. I really want to see it come to life again. And I'm excited to see where Bobby is. Like, what is Bobby like as an adult? What is Hank like if he is a grandparent as a grandparent? You know,
yeah,
what's
that's
Peggy
the thing.
like?
Are they pushing it forward like that? That's what
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
That was the rumor for the longest time. That's what I've been hearing for the last year or so.
Yeah, and even Steve Root was like, he's gonna be older. They wanted to age him up. They just said they want to age him up, but like they didn't say if it'd be his 20s, 30s, 40s. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'm cool with Bobby being like fresh out of college and like maybe he hasn't married yet. He doesn't have a kid yet. So it's like Hank dealing with that. That'd be cool to see. Like Peggy losing her, you know, her baby bird flea in the coop. Like I'm excited to see where these characters go. I want to know what, you know, all of his friends are up to. Like I want to know what's going on. You know, like I want to see how they're doing. I just want to know.
It's funny. It's like when you're invested into a program that long, they become like real people to you, you know? It's like you're invested so much, like, what happened to them? How have they been after all these years? You can't check on Facebook to see how they're doing. So, you know, come on, bring them back, which is what they're doing.
As someone from the South, you don't want to check on Facebook to see how your old friends are doing.
It's not great, huh?
It's not great.
Well, hopefully that this program, King of the Hill, after it's like its whole lineage, it holds up to it and it brings something great to the fans. It makes sense why we're continuing it. Just like Christina Applegate was talking about, a Married with Children is coming back in an animated form, everybody. Married with Children animated. And it's something that she's doing because she's like, you know, it's one of those things that she's, you know, it started her career pretty much. It was huge for her. And then she's at the point in her life right now where apparently she's kind of backpedaling on her career. She's at the end of her career. She's saying, at least in front of the camera, because after Dead to Me, she said that's probably going to be her last time on camera, because as people have heard, maybe you don't know about it, but she's had multiple sclerosis diagnosed like a long time ago, and she's been dealing with this for years. And she's just saying she doesn't know if she can be on camera anymore because of this. She doesn't know about her health, up and down, but she can do voiceover to help pay for her bills and her family and, you know, and get back to her roots in a way. So this is happening. Married with Children. Back in 1987, this came. And she said all four of them are coming back. The whole family is coming back, which I think is crazy. It's pretty great. The Bundys are coming back. And for me, I'm like, it could be fun. Animated, I don't know. I mean, that was a sitcom too. It really didn't have a storyline besides
11,
them just
11 seasons.
Yeah,
11 seasons.
it ran into the
Married with
90s.
Children.
Like, that's my childhood. Like, I don't get me
11
wrong, and I don't want them to
seasons
go
of
to the
Al Bundy
80s.
in the shoe store. Okay?
Right, 11 seasons.
That's
Yeah,
like
but
the
like,
shoe store.
I'm cool with it being animated, but like, keep it in the 90s, pick it up where the show left off. And I'm
Peg
excited
Bundy
for
and the
Christina Applegate.
bonbons. Come on,
Right?
man.
And I'm excited for Christina Applegate. I think that's great because I was sad to hear about her diagnosis, and you can see in the last Netflix series that she did, that final season, you can see it, like just how it affected her. But she's an incredible actress, and she
really
was
is.
the hottest woman alive when I was a kid in the 90s. Like, come on, she's an icon. So I think it's amazing that she's getting a chance to come back. But I kind of been more curious just to see where she's going to go as a voice actor. Like, that would be neat. And I hope she continues to get work that way. If that's how she can get it. I'm so used to being able to edit my stuff. I'm not used to live talking. Guys.
Welcome to the world of live.
That's so fun. But yeah, I think it would be
fun.
cool to have her do that. So I'll give it a shot. I'll see what it's about. But I don't really see a need for this at all. I know just ranted about, King of the Hill and being so excited for that coming back, but like I don't.
But that started as a medium. That was animation.
It's like we're going further back. Are we about to reboot Three's Company? Like, how far back are we gonna go and like bring people back from the dead and voodoo rituals and shit? Like, what are we gonna do?
That's the world that's kind of happening more and more. There's more CG, more creation.
Sir.
There's a lot of that happening.
We keep going further back in time to these like sitcoms that are like dead and gone and bringing them back to life. At first it was these shows from the early 2000s, then like the late 90s, and now we're dipping our toes into shows from the 80s. Like, how far back are we going to keep going with this? Like, why not just do new sitcoms in general? Why not do new shows? That's all.
I think because
you have all these writers on strike, why don't you give them what they need so they can create better content for us? Let's do that.
Yeah, but people don't like new content, Jacob. We talk about that in the show all the time. Everybody wants reboots, right?
Next.
Everybody wants to keep bringing that back because that's what happens.
Happy Days is coming next. The Fonz is coming back. It's gonna
Who's
be
going
a
to
new
play the
Fonz.
Fonz? Who's going to play the Fonz? Is it going to be his great grandson?
Austin Butler.
Like, is that the story?
Austin
Like,
Butler
Happy
is gonna
Days
be
comes
Fonz.
back. Ron Howard. Like,
Double
it's gonna follow
go,
Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, she's the son of, or the daughter of Ron Howard.
Like, just make it animated. Make it animated.
No, he's not. He's too old. I'm trying to think.
Happy Days animated would work.
It could work. Because Ron Howard's not coming back to TV.
Now
I'm putting it out there.
I'm joking.
Thanks a lot, Sabrina.
It might happen.
You joke, but this show has an audience. All right, you have
Happy
special
Days
powers
also,
here.
by the way, fun fact: 11 seasons. 11 seasons
Really?
of Happy Days. 11 seasons of Married with Children. Yes.
So
geez.
the joke used to be 6 seasons in a movie. Now it's 11 seasons in a reboot.
I'm just saying.
It never ends. It never ends. Sabrina, what do you think about this happening though? Overall, Married with Children, would you watch an animated version of this? Are you happy that she has this opportunity to come back and the rest of the crew and the cast, or do you think that this should have been left back in the 90s?
No, I love Married with Children. It was hilarious. I loved all of the characters. I love the Bundy bounce. I love Bud's awkward weirdness. I love the dynamic was so of that time. It was such a like nuclear man does this, woman does this, like hot daughter does this, and the neighbors, Steve and Marcy were great. I mean, I'm down. I'm so down for an animated version, and I'm down for it mostly because it's a different medium, right? So you get all the same actors and all the same voices, but you're going through it with animation because they are all so much older. And I mean, I would be surprised. I feel like it's going to take off where it left off. Like they're not going to be all their age now, or else they would just put it back on TV. So I think it's a fun thing to switch. Just like when we talked about Ash and Ash.
They're doing an animated movie
and coming back,
Here for
to
that.
finish that with an animation as opposed to doing it live action. So I'm super down for it. I love Christina Applegate. She's a spectacular actress. She's a spectacular person. And yeah, I'm so down for some more Married with Children, honestly.
and she was great on Dead to Me too. She was awesome.
That's
One
a
of my
great
favorite
show.
shows.
It's a great
It's an
show.
So well
amazing
done.
show.
Yeah.
Yep. She was so good.
The
They really
only
nailed it.
issue I ever had with Married with Children is if Peg Bundy's your wife, why would you not want to have sex with her? What's wrong with Al?
I don't know.
Like,
He
what's
wanted to
wrong
go
with you?
touch the women's feet at the shoe store instead, you know?
Like, I don't think he realized how lucky he was.
Maybe they'll touch on that now when he's older. Maybe they'll do
I'd
that,
like
you
to see
know?
that.
I could be
Oh,
fun.
Al. Come on,
Yeah.
man. That show is spectacular.
You're
great.
right. You're right. It was great. But again, without writers, we would never have these programs, which leads me to our next conversation about the writer's strike. Because there's some updates right now, what's been happening. And of course, we've been talking about programs being shut down, programs being stopped with picketers, and they're being forced to stop down. Well, right now, we have this whole update now with the producers and the showrunners. Now, the producers what's happening is they're impacting the overall deals right now. So the major studios have started sending out letters to writer producers under overall and first look contracts and telling them that they're going to suspend their contracts because they said before, it was last week, they put a little thing out saying, hey, we get the WGA striking, but you have scripts, you have crew, you have cast, get to fucking work. That's what they said. And so these people are like, but there's a writer's strike happening. So why would we cross the picket line? We're not going to cross the picket line. And they said, well, if you don't, you're breaching your contract. And we can actually terminate your contract if you want. So this is how it starts. It happened before in the past with previous writer's strike where they suspended people's contracts. They didn't get to work because, of course, the Teamsters wouldn't cross the picket lines, which led to cast not crossing the picket lines, and that led to productions shutting down. Same thing's happening. Warner Brothers sent these things out. Universal, CBS, Disney, 20th Century, ABC, they all sent these out. Sony's apparently sending theirs out now. And now the streaming services, this is the first time they're doing this. Netflix, Amazon, they're contemplating it, but they're probably going to do the same thing and send them to their showrunners and be like, hey, we're suspending your contract. We're not going to pay you because you're not shooting when you're supposed to be shooting. So that's what happens when this goes down. Now, here's the productions right now that have stopped, just so you know.
It's like they don't know how strikes work.
That's how it works. You know, it's like they don't know. But Stranger Things shut down, Daredevil Born Again, Wonder Man, Blade, the new Blade movie was shooting, that shut down, Hacks, Billions, American Horror Story, Severance, Yellow Jackets, the Game of Thrones spinoff, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, that was writing. They shut that down right now. Evil, Cobra Kai, Abbott Elementary, Bunked, Loot, Night Court, like that's just some of the ones that have shut down right now. And you're going to see that everything is going to shut down because as the Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers said, it's like, yes, we have scripts written. Yes, we could keep shooting right now, but there's more writing that happens on the day that we can't do with a WGA strike. So we have to shut down. And that's how it should be, because if anybody knows anything about being on set, there's always writers there. And that's one of the things they're fighting for is more writers on set so that the story can keep its integrity. Wherever they shoot or they write on the day, they want to keep that integrity and make it be their story moving forward. So without these writers, you can't do anything. And I said it was going to happen before, and it was just inevitable for it to actually start shutting down. And now they are because you don't have writers on set, guys. It's a no-brainer. You can't shoot. A showrunner can't shoot. And of course, it's a breach of contract in a way, but at the end of the day, there's a strike. So this is what it is. So they suspend everybody, and now we just sit on hold when no one gets paid.
You know,
that's what a strike is.
Something a lot of people don't think about too, when you're on set and you're filming, even when an actor's like, I'm going to change my line, I want to say it like this, they need a writer there to write that in. Like it has to be cataloged. Like,
yes,
they need that for the editors. They need it for, what's happening in the scene for the script supervisor. Like the writers are very fucking necessary.
Yeah.
They don't just write and then be like, all right, here's the episode, go film it. It doesn't work like that. They're there all the time. They're hard workers. They do what needs to be done, and they do not get a lot of credit that they deserve. And I am rooting for them. And unlike, no offense, the SAG, my union, Local 399, they are there. We're part of the strike. We're supporting it. Not part of, excuse me, that's the wrong saying. We're not a part of it. We are supporting it. From day one, we've been there to support it. And we've been told, if you don't want to cross the picket line, don't cross the picket line.
Yeah. And that's how
we're not being forced to go in. Now I'm with the locations department. I'm not a Teamster driver. I know some of them they had more questions when it came to this, because every union that's trying to support the writers union, they're all trying to figure out how to navigate this and show their support without also losing their benefits and their jobs. And thankfully, so far, it seems like everyone's like, hey, if you want to go out there and picket. If you want to go to work, go to work. If you don't want to cross the line, don't cross the line. Like, yeah. It's really nice seeing that there is support behind this. They deserve this. And
They
with all the streaming services, there's no more physical media. So it's not like you can give them royalties for a movie. I mean, other than myself, maybe you guys, not a lot of people buy physical copies of movies anymore.
It's going away.
They stopped making DVDs. It's all Blu-rays and 4K, and that'll probably go out soon. I'm probably have to start getting a digital collection going on. So streamers have it. The streaming services, they have it. They're the new studios. They're the new big dogs in town. I don't know why in their fucking mind they haven't realized that what happened, almost 15 years ago, they didn't take that serious moving forward. Like, I don't know why they think like, oh, well, we're just not going to do it. And
this is the union strike.
I want to get my thoughts right here. The thing that bothers me is the writers came to them, the union came to them, they gave them what they wanted, they gave them their list of demands, and it was all sent back. And all the major demands that they had, there wasn't even a counter offer made. It was just like, nope, here you go, take this shit and walk. And it's like, you didn't even offer a counter offer. Like, you didn't offer any suggestion, nothing. Like, they didn't even look at it. So of course we're in a fucking strike right now.
Yeah, that's going to end it right there. Well, they had a little bit of back and forth last week, or the last weekend before the strike. There was a little bit, but it was like, I mean, they offered them. It was like nothing. It was like 70 million over 3 years, and WGA wanted about, it was like 500 million over that. So I mean, it's like it was like nothing. And they were comparing it to like Zaslav, how much he makes a year, which is like it's insane. They were saying with David Zaslav's actual paycheck, it could actually pay for 10,000 writers in 1 year, or for over 3 years, I should say, over 3 years. His contract for 1 year. If that shows you how much these producers are getting paid, and they're saying, oh, it's a tough time, but they're all getting raises, and everybody else is actually doing all the grunt work, and that they're like making these shows aren't getting their money. And that's not fair. And it shouldn't become a gig job. It can't become a gig job. I mean, that's not the way this is laid out, And it's like, if you want to be able to make a living doing it, you should be able to make a living doing it. You shouldn't have to like be a part-time job being a writer. That makes no sense. The film
industry is based off of a class society system. And by that, I mean, it's based off the ancient medieval times of noble society and don't give a fuck about the rest.
Mm-hmm.
That's our industry.
Nuts.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Sabrina,
and
what do you
I don't think people
these?
understand too. Yeah. Directors are writers, producers are writers. A lot of these people, they're right. James Gunn is a fucking writer. Like these people, so it's like you're shitting on them as well. Like you're not just like trying to nip someone in the bud that's like an up and coming writer. You're shitting on everyone.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of these writers, showrunners have to shut down too now. And it's like they're saying the same thing. Like we're WGA, we're producers, we're also showrunners. We have to shut down because
it's a classy way of showing support too.
We can't shoot, Sabrina, what do you think about the updates? Are you surprised that the studios are like suspending these contracts, or do you think this is just a natural progression for the strike moving forward?
I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. So like the producers had to know that this is going to happen. I don't understand why we can't they've been talking about this since before the holidays. So I just don't know like why it's come to this. Like they could have negotiated before it was time to strike, which they did a little bit, but obviously not enough.
They started in March.
And what they're asking for is nothing crazy. Increased pay, shorter exclusivity deals, assurance about this AI bullshit, which they're worried about is going to take their jobs, staffing requirements on shows. It's all basic shit that they should have. And when the media shifted to streaming, I mean, it's a whole different ballgame, and they're not making the money that they used to make. It's all different because it was like this new media. Same thing with actors. The new media contracts are completely different. Where I think I've said this before, like where, stars of shows are not getting residuals on a streaming service, but if you were on network television, you would be making residuals. Like there's all these little things that happened when it shifted to new media because it was literally a new medium and people didn't know how it was going to go, how big it was going to be. And now that it is, like Jacob said, like the new platform, period, like you need to make up for that. It's not outlandish. It's not ridiculous. It's not asking for too much. I don't understand why or how they think it's okay to sit back and, get fat on all the spoils and not share it with anybody else. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm glad that SAG is stepping up and, telling people to go and pick it. They have signs and shirts available if you want to go pick them up at certain places. There is a strike,
which they weren't doing at first, though. Yeah.
Well, if the thing is if you are contracted to work on a show as an actor, like you are supposed to go and work on the show. Like if they're shooting, you're supposed to be there because there is a clause in our in SAG-AFTRA's contract. But aside from that, they are supporting the strike and they are giving out, signs and shirts and telling you where to go and what to do. So I'm glad that they stepped up and did that because, as everyone knows, I'm fairly sour on SAG-AFTRA and their ability to roll over for producers whatever they want because they don't give a shit about us because they're all producers too. Yeah. So they're like Gabrielle Cartier, whatever the fuck her name is, 90210, who was 35 when she was shooting that. Like she's a producer and doesn't even act. So why would she give a shit about actors' rights? Like, I don't even understand. Like, just because you were in something 1,010 years ago and like did one Lifetime movie since then, like, how do you have the right to be like the president of SAG? And it needs to be working actors. It needs to be people who are dealing with this stuff all of the time, and not people who are also producing. Like, that should be a conflict of interest, man. Like, you're an actor and a producer, and then you're bargaining, you're creating deals with the producers. That's going to benefit you. Like that shouldn't be allowed. Like
conflicts of interest and nepotism run rampant in the film industry.
They do.
Well, I mean, absolutely 100%. Nepotism. Like, but there's nothing you could do to stop that. And like, there's plenty of cases of nepotism where people are super talented. And so like, whatever. I know you wouldn't have gotten a job if you weren't this person's daughter or this person's nephew or whatever the fuck. But a lot of times they're very talented. I'm less upset about that because I mean, if you were a lawyer, you would tell your kid to go to law school and hire them in your firm. If you were a groundskeeper, you tell your kid, hey, I'm going to teach you how to freaking cut these plants your whole life. You come in, you take over my business. Like nepotism is in every industry, everywhere in the world,
But that's what I'm saying. The conflicts of interest, they are just as blatantly there as nepotism is. Like,
right. But I feel like that is something that you can fucking prevent. That's something you can,
but you won't.
Can't prevent nepotism, but you can prevent a conflict of interest while you're bargaining, while you're negotiating a contract that is supposed to help the lot of your fucking union or guild or whatever the fuck we are, because we're not even a real union. They don't get us work. They don't do anything. Like if you are negotiating our contracts, you should not have an interest on the other side. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't. They always do.
It's insane. So I am glad. My point is, I know that was a little bit off topic. That I'm glad that they are, doing what is right and supporting, the writers for the.
It's even like Gabriella was negotiating our contracts last time. She's not even our president anymore, and they were paying her to do it.
But then she's flying to Canada to avoid our rules to do.
Yeah, to avoid our rules to create her own stuff.
It's ridiculous, honestly.
Like to avoid SAG rules. It's not right. And that's, again, a problem with the logistics of how you can be president or who could be president. And it's just messed up. We've been doing that for years and it hasn't changed. And the problem is people don't vote enough. It's a big problem. And the same people keep getting in. And also it's a celebrity vote.
But that's also these people who are in charge, which is her and there's like two factions of SAG for anyone who doesn't know. But like her faction of SAG are the people in charge. So they spam you with a million emails about vote for this, do that, look at this, look what we're doing, blah, 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 all this stuff. To where I have actual friends who are like, oh, I thought she was the person that we're supposed to vote for. And I'm like, no, she is a lunatic. It's like some fascist shit going on here. Like it's propaganda.
You mean they run it like our actual political system?
Like,
they do. They do.
So, but at least with our political system, you are getting both sides. You get commercials for both candidates. You know what I mean? Like they just spam you with their shit. So you see all these other people on this other side and you're like, who the fuck, what is Matthew Modine doing? I don't fucking know. Okay, let me vote for Fran Drescher because they told me to. Like they poison your mind with propaganda in the fucking emails on their side. And the other shit that comes in the mail, people aren't fucking paying attention to that. Who looks at real mail anymore? They're like, ad, throw in the trash. You know what I mean? Like all that political shit that comes to you for
and those are our dues.
State comptroller or like whatever the fuck. You have 58 of those flyers. Garbage. Not looking at that. I research before I vote, of course, but like it's like
not everybody does.
What SAG does is they keep whoever's been in charge, they keep that faction of power in charge for the past bazillion years. And it's never going to change because people who aren't educated and aren't involved in the system and how it works are not going to go out there, do the research that they need to do and vote for who is actually good for our union. So it's just like passing on the baton to another person who is looking out for their own interests. It's very unfortunate.
But SAG would never strike like the WGA either. They always, because again, producer actors in that pocket, in that side, they're always going to go with their producer side as opposed to their actor side. wrong people
Speaking of the
negotiating.
WGA again, speaking of those guys, I am very impressed with what they're doing. We know that they've been going around picketing around the studios, but they're actually showing up at locations now.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
coming to people filming on location. Wherever there's a film happening in Los Angeles, they're showing up there and picketing there too. And it's cause I know there was a show recently being filmed out here. I just found out that like they went ahead, they had plans to film for 2 more weeks. They went ahead and shut it down because they're like, they showed up at our location and people were like, I don't feel comfortable crossing the picket line now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right. So they
That's-
shut down. So
that's
good
how
for
it should
them.
be.
The guild is not fucking around. The writers
No.
are not fucking around.
They don't.
And I it's inspiring to see that. And I just wish that other unions would also take that kind of demand.
Step it up.
I have nothing bad to really say about my union right now. I'm new to it. I've enjoyed what's happened. We had negotiations and everything, and we got it settled before a strike. Strikes were in talks, but it all went through. I'm still new to it, but from what I gathered, it seems that there have been a lot of benefits, a lot of good stuff. There are, of course, always something that you wish you could have negotiated better for, but that'll happen again later on. Whereas it seems like with the writers, they can't get what they want. And so they're like, well, we're tired of doing that. And they just shut everything down. And good for them for doing it. Because you need to at least, I know with my union, we made offers and counter offers were made and it was reasonable. With the writers, they made offers, they made their demands of what they wanted and what was necessary, like we just discussed, and no counter offer was given. No other like, well, why don't we try this? No, they didn't give a shit. They just said, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad they're showing up and picketing the studios. I'm glad they're showing up to people on location and picketing them.
It's big. It's great.
It's got to be done.
Like,
and
Luke
maybe
just
they
got
can
shut
teach,
down.
SAG how to grow a backbone.
Yeah, you're right. Well, the thing is, SAG's contract's
luck
up
with
in
that.
June. SAG's contract's up. The DGA's contract's up in June.
Yeah, there's no strike for you guys. I'm
No,
sorry.
there's no. We'll quietly quit our negotiations. No one will even know about that. We'll quietly quit it and sign it.
Was
And they'll be
saying,
like,
I won't go quietly into the night. No, we'll go quietly
No,
into
no.
the night.
It all
we will.
depends. It all depends on what happens. If WGA is still striking in June when our contract is up, we will strike too. We will strike too. If
I don't know.
Because you're
came to-
piggybacking.
No, dude. Exactly.
But hey, take advantage while you can.
It might help
at least
everybody.
the moment.
If they come to an agreement before then, there's no way SAG will strike.
oh yeah, no
But
way,
if
no
they
way.
are still striking, SAG will jump on that bandwagon just because. But they would never do it on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's no way of knowing when this will actually end. And the thing is, like, again, they're just going to keep going for a while. We said before May 15th, there's a big picket going on in New York, Los Angeles, and in Georgia too. So they're planning for that. And it's going to be some time till this happens. The last one was 100 days. The one before that was like 130 days. And that was back in the 80s. So if it looks at there, you're looking at 3 months probably, and then maybe someone will cave, but we don't know. Again, there's no way of knowing when this will end. But we do know that The Flash is ending though soon because The Flash season 9 is out and there's only a few episodes left, everybody. And I just want to talk about this very briefly because I don't know if Jacob's been watching this, but I've been watching it since day one. And we're doing with the first part. They're doing 4-part finale for this. It's called A New World. Part 1 and part 2 comes out on May 10th this week. May 17th and May 24th is the finale for The Flash. And they're going to get into all of it. They're going to say the fastest man alive is tasked with his greatest challenge out to save the timeline and save existence. Friends old and new gather for this epic battle to save Central City one last time. So, okay. So I watched I've been watching it. I've been watching this season. And then, of course, I've said before, I don't think this is the greatest show, but they got me hooked, and I've been watching it forever and ever and ever. And I keep getting upset they bring the same villains back again. That we brought back Reverse Flash again last week. That's our first part of 4 parts. But that's
he's gonna save the timeline. No fucking shit. That's your show finale. He saves the timeline. That's what he's been fucking doing for 9 seasons.
For 9 seasons, you know, this is why most of your cast is left at this
Oh.
point. You know what I mean? They leave. They're like, fuck this. We've done the same thing for 9 years. You know, they've gone so long. Gesundheit, bless you. They've gone so long that the original Flash movie was supposed to start before this started, and the original Flash movie now that's coming out in June is going to come out after the whole 9 seasons have ended. If that tells you anything, that's insane to me. They did 9 seasons in that time. But it's the same
Arrow
shit.
only got 6. Arrow got 6. And they started. Arrow was the show that started it all. You can give Smallville its credit, fine. Smallville was its own little thing. The CW as it is now with the DC universe, which in my opinion is done pretty damn good, started with the Arrow, and then you
Did.
got the Flash, you got Black Lightning, you got Supergirl, you got Stargirl, or whatever it's called now. You have all these
Stargirl.
fucking spinoffs, and they're good. I enjoy watching them. I have a
No,
blast
they're
watching
not.
them.
They're
They're
just
fun.
You guys
for
turn
me.
your brain
We're gonna
off.
throw the word good out there. Like, let's be real. It's not good.
Have
They're
you met me?
fun.
Do you know my taste? My taste is not that difficult.
I'm not saying your taste. I'm saying the human race's taste. It is not good.
They're fun.
good.
They're fun.
It's good.
I mean, they're all kind of fun. I mean,
They're
honestly,
extremely fun.
Yeah,
but they
I've
are
watched-
repetitive, like we were just joking. Like the show finale
Right.
is the Flash saves the timeline. Yeah, because
Right.
that's the episode.
really
That's
good
the finale
like,
for every season.
15-year-olds,
Every
but, like,
season.
as someone who like works
Well, that's
in
also the
film
Flash.
and
That's comic
watches
books for you.
film, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be like, this is good. That Stargirl show was literally painful to watch. Painful. And I felt bad for Luke Wilson and Amy Smart. How'd you get caught
Killing
up in
it.
that shit?
They were killing
How
it.
did you?
I don't know. I thought it was.
It was offensive. It was offensive. And Joel McHale's popping in as a villain. I'm like, please stop it.
You didn't like
right now.
villain Joe McHale? It was
Oh my
great.
god,
I loved
can't
it.
with
I
any
want
of
more
it.
Joe
I
McHale.
cannot with any of it. It was offensive and horrific. The only thing that
Starman.
was worth was the Titans. Okay, that was the only thing that was
Okay.
worth.
Yes,
Worth.
Titans.
Worth.
And I don't know
Titans
how
hot
you
garbage.
fucked that up. Like I
They
don't
did.
know how you fucked that up.
I
And I,
mean,
tried,
they-
y'all.
they-
I tried. I know you've talked about it on this show. I have
Yeah.
tried with the Titans.
It's the worst.
I aggravatingly pushed through the first season, watching
Yeah.
shit on my phone, letting it run in the background. I treated it like a fucking Law and Order show, and I still
so
couldn't.
tough.
Get there.
Anytime I walked by
couldn't
and
get
that was
there.
on,
But the
I was
fight
like,
sequences were
"Oh,
great,
this
but it just, I
again."
don't get it. I don't get how you dropped the ball for that.
Ugh,
But the
I
Flash didn't drop the ball. The Flash kept it simple. CW plotline, teenage romance, teenage superheroes. Oh, they're all growing up. They're out of college now. Now they're young adults living in the world as superheroes. It's formulaic. It's great. It is what it is. It's the CW, but somehow it works. The DC universe on CW.
Like,
it
look at
works.
this picture that Brian has up right now. It literally looks like a bunch of people dressing up for Halloween down my street. Like,
On camera,
wish
it
I had
works.
awesome
They
costumes
might
like
not
that.
even they
Yeah,
might not
right.
even win a costume contest at a bar. I'm
Oh,
just
they would.
saying.
They
I'm
would.
just saying. They might not. They might not.
I think
Okay.
they would.
They
I think
would.
they would.
They
That's
would.
from this. That's from the
that money
episode
well
where,
spent, though.
and that's the episode where the Arrow came back, you know, and that was the thing where he's
Nobody
like
cares.
apparently like dead, but he's like the angel force. I don't know what the hell he is at this point either.
Yeah.
But he
no
can
one
kind
does
of.
because it's stupid.
And it doesn't matter though, because again,
No.
it's based off of comics.
Yeah.
Have you read a fucking comic? Like all kinds of weird shit happens. That's
It's
what's
weird
great.
shit.
Like it
He's
doesn't
running.
fucking matter. It
He
it
can't run.
doesn't
No one can
matter.
run that fast. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No one can run that fast. I wish I could run that fast.
You mean to
I
tell me
agree
if
with
I
me. They
if I
might
fucking
not.
run really fast in a circle, really fast, I can somehow jump into a timeline.
Let me
and
tell
I
you
can
what.
reverse shit like it's
Waylon,
great.
And fly.
Waylon might be able to do that, but you definitely cannot.
Wayland.
He runs circles around. me all
I've
the
seen
time.
him run in circles. Okay, I'll give him that nod, but definitely not you or I.
He's the fastest kid alive. No, I don't do running.
Kid alive.
That's right.
Yeah, but
Oh my
this
God.
we got 3 more parts of this coming out, and I just think it's going to be the same thing. Like honestly, I really hope they bring the
I'm
whole
still gonna
cast
watch
back
it.
at least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch
They're gonna
it
bring
too.
the whole cast back. We're gonna watch it, Brian. We're gonna love it. We're
Yeah.
gonna laugh. We're gonna cry. We're gonna be happy. It's gonna end, and we're gonna be like, that was good. That was
Yeah,
good. And then
that
we're
was
gonna
good.
move on with our lives because
Yeah.
that's what it is.
And that's the show. You know, it's just fun energy. It's not like I said. It's not like it's would be on a big
Oh,
screen,
God.
but Sabrina gets mad at my pictures. But it's fun. It's like it's been fun for me, and I think they look great right there. Right? What do you think, Jacob? You look great. Yeah, I think so.
They do. Yeah, they look excellent. You know what else is great about that show? The immaculate, clean ass coffee shop that they're always drinking in. The world around them gets pulverized by villains, yet that coffee shop stays pristine. And it's
Always.
amazing.
Always jitters.
fucking great.
Jinx, jitters.
Yeah, yo, coffee.
Yeah. But you know, for me, I'm like, we'll see how this goes. I mean, it's gonna be. I know. I'm pretty know what I'm expecting when I get out of it. Barry Allen was like, I can't think of his Grant Gustin. He was doing an interview where he
A
said they were
decent
gonna.
fucking human being who
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
been in the actual films. Just saying, it's my
He
two
could have been.
cents.
He could have been a great
Who?
in the movies. Grant
The
Gustin.
Flash guy?
Yeah.
The actual actor, because
No
you have all
way,
these
dude.
issues with the guy. Have you
Hey,
heard all the
Ezra-
bullshit going on with Ezra?
Yeah,
Ezra
I
does
was
a lot
aware
with
that
Ezra.
he's he's a psychopath. Don't get me wrong. Great job as the Flash. Great job as the
no.
Flash. He's
No,
funny. He's
no,
quirky.
He's Barry
like,
Allen. DC,
dude.
CW's DC is Barry Allen. That's
No.
the
He didn't
real
get a
Flash.
chance. They had that little crossover, which was a lot of fun, where they actually had Ezra come on and they went face to face and like, who are you? What are you doing? Oh, that was a lot of fun. So I hope that happens in the new Flash movie too. They have some moment with that because I feel bad for him because he did it for like 9 seasons and he didn't get a chance to cross over. He wasn't even considered, I don't think. So bad for him. But you know what? He had a great career doing this, so he'll do more. But he said in the interview that they were going to do like a dark kind of like bad ending. And then he said, well, we decided not to. So like you're spoiling it in a way, saying it's going to be a happy ending. Of course, it's going to be a happy
the Flash. Of course, it's a happy ending. They're just fucking with you.
Look, and this guy's an A+ for CW, which isn't saying anything. Okay, that's all. That's all I'm trying to say. Like an A+ for CW.
You try telling me and
like
Brian and all the other 13 to 14-year-old children out there that we're wrong. Go ahead.
Well, that's
okay?
the problem. You should be behaving like an adult who works in the entertainment industry. Hopefully, the children are not watching the show because there is a lot of cursing and some severe.
This is definitely not kid appropriate. Never has been.
The children. That's what I mean. Look at this guy. Look at this picture.
It's for the children. It's for the children.
He's like,
look at that
giving me
sweet leather
right
mask.
Now. He's like, yes. I'm like,
look at lightning bolts coming out of your ears.
He got his gold boots this season. He
did get his gold boots. And also,
oh my God,
for the fans of the comic books and like who watched the cartoons and shit growing up, they have the actual fucking Flash from the '90s show, and he's wearing the Flash uniform
with
from
the helmet.
Fucking comics from the '60s and '70s. It's fucking awesome.
Like. Should I get a popper to throw some confetti in the air for you? Like, are we serious right now? Please. Yes. No, they don't get anything done right.
They get it right.
They got Seventh Heaven done right, maybe. Like, that's the last thing they did right.
I think they do it right. I think they do it right. And for all those kids out there just like us that are excited about the finale of this, go get it, kids. We're going to have a great time watching the last 3 episodes.
All the 12
all the kids and these two 12
to 14, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
Your demographic. Just your words, not mine. Your words, not mine.
Okay. Well, hopefully the Flash season 9 finale is great. It's fulfilling. Hopefully it's fantastic and it's fun and it's a great joyous send off for Barry Allen and for his whole medley crew. I've been doing this for 9 years because it could be great. And I hope
it'll be over in a flash.
It'll be in a flash. And also, speaking of a flash of atomic bombs exploding, I want to talk about our featured story of the night. A light grasp. Everybody, I want to talk about Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Now, the newest trailer came out. This isn't that far away. It's coming out in July, everybody. So Oppenheimer is coming July 21st, 2023. 3 hours long, they're saying, by Universal now, not WB, because of everything that went down with Christopher Nolan and WB when they started releasing all the movies straight to HBO Max. Nolan's like, that's not how it should be. We should go to theaters.
Movie and bitched about it.
He bitched about it. He got mad. And he broke up with WB after all these years. This will be his first movie that he's done without WB since, it's been like forever. I think it's been since his first movie. It's insane. It's like, how do you actually like break up with someone that's been making all your... Yeah, Memento, yeah. How do you break up after that long? I don't know. It's his first biopic as well. And for him, it looks like a Nolan movie to me. It looks great. Cillian Murphy looks great. You have Matt Damon.
Is always great.
Always great. You have Matt Damon. Matt Damon looks good in this. Matt Damon.
Is he a friend of the show?
He's a friend of the show. I like Matt Damon.
Cillian Murphy's a friend of the show, right?
Yeah, Cillian Murphy.
Big friend of the show.
Cillian Murphy's awesome.
He's just a person. He's not a friend of the show.
He's just a person. If you look at this cast, though, this cast is insane.
Matt Damon's also not a friend of the show. Jimmy
Emily
Kimmel's a
Blunt.
friend of the show, so Matt Damon's definitely not a friend of the show.
Jimmy Kimmel's a friend, not Matt. Fuck off, Matt. Sorry.
You have to pick one or the other, and it's definitely Jimmy Kimmel.
Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr. You got Quaid. Jack Quaid. You got Florence Pugh. I like to say Pugh. You got Matthew Modine. We're talking about him. He's in this shit. There's a huge cast.
Vote
Josh
for that
Hartnett.
man for SAG president, for heaven's sakes. Matthew Modine, please.
He's awesome. He'd make a great SAG president. But honestly, the trailer came out. To me, it looks great. It always looks great. I like me some Nolan. We talk about Nolan on Friday a lot because I worked with Nolan a bit. So there's a real special place in my heart with Christopher Nolan. He's
not
great.
A bad filmmaker. I just don't think he should have got as upset about a movie he made, which wasn't that great. Let's be honest, it was not that great. It's okay, man. You make mistakes.
What do you get upset about?
Move on.
It happens.
Make Oppenheimer. We're good to go.
What is he upset about?
His movie didn't do that well.
What
Well,
movie?
It did okay. It did okay.
The
Will
time jump
Pattinson.
movie.
Will
Tenet?
Pattinson. Tenet, yeah.
The tentacle
So
Tenet, yeah.
I actually enjoyed that movie quite a bit.
Yeah, but it just didn't do well. It just wasn't like that. It
let me
wasn't
tell you what.
wow or
It
anything.
was during the pandemic, and it was a whole thing. Like that definitely had something to do with it because people were not going to the movies.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a Robert Pattinson fan. I actually don't like him, but
Pattinson.
he was the star of that movie for me. Without him, it would have been a piece of crap. He did an excellent job.
He's definitely growing on me as an actor. I really enjoy his work. And I'll say this, during that time, you're right. I think of another big issue he has, which I can agree with him on, was that his movie was kind of the test pilot to see how streaming these movies straight to streaming services would go. And I think the issue that he had with it is that everyone was kind of like, yeah, it's not like it's a terrible movie, but I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it. Like that's the number one comment I heard from everyone is I didn't have to pay for it at least. Like, yeah, I watched it.
But if you did have to pay for it,
I would have been upset.
Have to pay for it, he would have made a lot more money.
He would have made a lot more
money. I would have lost my fucking money because I would have paid for it. And I'd have been like, why did I pay for this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like Tom Cruise was like fighting the whole thing. Like, we can't put it on streaming because it'll make more money. And it did.
It was amazing. And I'm glad it held out. It needed a blockbuster theater release. It was fucking amazing.
And Paramount needed that bad too. That's like Paramount's highest grossing movie. And they're still hurting. We'll talk about on Friday, like Paramount Plus, it's still not made money for them. They won't make money till 2027. So Paramount needs money. And it's like, for me, like, how do you even keep going? That's a whole different bag of worms.
Disney will knock on their door soon. It'll be fine.
Yeah, probably. They'll probably end up selling. That'll probably happen, And they're the mouse with the biggest pockets, No, Brian was a little bit tipsy on Friday.
I was I wasn't on Friday.
By the way, guys, I just want you to know, I love listening to the Tipsy Friday shows. They're my favorite that you do. I was glad you brought me on last time. So keep up the good work.
We have fun on Fridays. We just kind of go a little bit crazy sometimes. It makes it
Mondays
more fun.
Is very sobering, I'm noticing. It's easier to talk live when I'm drunk.
It's very sobering. You don't think about anything when you're drinking. It's like, whatever. Yeah. But Oppenheimer. Okay, Oppenheimer. Sabrina, are you excited about this trailer? You watched it. Does it tickle your innards? Does it make you excited? How do you feel about it?
Oh, that's a disgusting term. No. I mean, it has a very good cast, and I'm sure it will be a good movie. Anyone who knows me knows I do not like period pieces. I prefer to be in present day or Fantasyland. So not excited. I mean, I will probably watch it once it comes on whatever streaming service it's going to come on, and in the privacy of my living room, just chilling. I'm definitely.
It'll probably be on the cock, I'm guessing.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to be going to the theater to see this for 3 hours. Like, I'm going to need to be home and have access to, things in my house that I don't have access to in a movie theater, like a bathroom and maybe a cocktail and possibly some marijuana. But I do not see myself going to the movies to see this. I'm sure it will be great. It looks great. It's star-studded. Like, I'm sure it's going to be very good, but I'm not going to be one of those people that is going to be lining up to go to the theater and see this.
I mean, it's going to look good.
But I 100% agree with Sabrina on this one.
I mean, 3 hours. I mean, it looks great though, but 3 hours. And Matt Damon was saying
a Netflix series.
Well, they could have. They could have. They could have split
three-part miniseries. That's what they love doing, these series, these minis that they call them now. They love it.
And as GR says in the chat, he hopes it's close to reality.
Limited series.
Nolan's not going to do that shit. He's a movie.
No way.
He's a movie maker. Buff. He's not messing around with that bullshit. FYI.
It's like this isn't shot in IMAX. The same thing. He loves the big screen. He wants the biggest presentation for it. He's always about that. Like, that's what he's like. He's like, I'm making cinema. I'm not making television, and that makes sense for him. That's just what it is. But Jacob, okay, so you said maybe the small screen, maybe at home is better for you. But did this trailer do anything for you? Did it nudge you closer to wanting to go to the theater to see it? Or did it really just make you say, it's just going to be too long for me. I just should stay home and not deal with this?
A part of me went, I hope this streams like Tenet did. Because then I'll watch it. Like, it's the story about the guy who invented the atom bomb, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is, yes.
So, okay.
And his name is, guess what? Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Fucking spoilers, Sabrina. Now I don't have to go see the movie. There you go. I will say this though. I'm very curious to see how Albert Einstein turns out.
I know him in the trailer. That little brief moment.
Yep, I'm really curious about that. Other than Einstein, I don't give a flying fuck. By the way, where's Einstein biopic?
That's
And
a good
Young
question.
Einstein doesn't count, although it's a great movie.
It is a great movie. That does not
It's fucking
count. You're right.
awesome.
That does not count. It should, but it does not count.
Because
but
Einstein did some crazy shit, went through some crazy shit to help out. I'm sure they'll cover that in this movie. So
Yeah.
part of me, the historical nerd of me, yes, I actually do love my history. I love reading history. I'm fascinated by it because those who don't know their history are condemned and doomed to repeat it.
Yes, 100%.
I think for those out there who aren't as familiar, you know what? As someone from the South, I really hope a lot of red states goes and watches this fucking film and really sees the consequence of war. That's all.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I mean, you look at it, and I heard that Nolan actually like made a huge explosion for this too. He blew up a whole town so he could capture it on film realistically. So he actually blew up a town, and it's like, I mean, what's too far for cinema? You know what I mean? But I bet it looks fantastic. But that sounds like something he would do. I remember we were working on Dark Knight Rises. He wanted the bat flying through a shot, hooked a helicopter up to it, and actually flew it through the shot. So that's this man. He wants practicality. You know what I mean? He wants it real. Yeah. He wants it always real. And that's something I heard that he actually blew up town. I'm like, that makes sense. That seems like him.
You made me definitely want to watch it streaming now. Still not sold on spending my money on it.
Hell no,
I'll
dude,
definitely watch it streaming.
3 hours for that in the movie theater? Oh my God. I really would kill myself.
Why would I do that? Like, I can sit here, eat my popcorn, pause it, take a shit, come back, finish my popcorn,
take another shit,
answer a phone call, do some business transactions, answer an email or two, play
Christopher
a game.
Nolan may not be making a limited series, but I damn sure can treat his movie like one.
There's no exactly.
See, I'm more about like, I have a hard time stopping and going and stuff. I have to watch it straight through. I hate stopping. That's why I'm the guy that's like rocking my chair in the theater because I have to pee so bad. So bad.
Or
I'm that guy.
In the theater?
Or I sleep in the theater if I'm very tired. Well, that's also.
I only do that for John Wick movies.
Oh shit!
Wow,
that sounds like fighting words for Sabrina.
That's literally, you know what I almost said before. The only movie that's 3 hours long that I would like to wait in line to go see is John Wick. I'm not going to mess around with this nonsense.
Yeah, no, I said that's the only movie that like I actually held my piss in watching John Wick 4. Like it was fucking good.
I thought you were saying like you fell asleep in John Wick.
Fuck no, I love John Wick. No,
that's
no, I was talking about like. When you got to sit through these long ass movies, half the time, I wish I was at my house because I got to get up and leave. And like, what am I going to miss? You know, especially when I go to see a scary movie, it's like, well, let me wait till they start talking because then I know that nothing's going to happen.
I'm not going to miss shit.
Yeah. And then I get back just in time to watch someone get their face slashed off. It's awesome.
Yep. And you're like, this is great.
But
like the Evil Dead movie was like that.
Yeah.
Oh God, the scalp. The scalp.
The scalp. Oh, that Evil Dead Rises. Whew.
So good.
Yeah,
so excited.
Brutal, so brutal.
Did y'all see it already?
Yeah, we saw this last weekend. So brutal. Brutal.
No spoilers.
No. We'll talk about it later. But very brutal.
I'm hyped.
But Oppenheimer at 3 hours long is coming, everybody. If you're a fan of Christopher Nolan, you got this coming to your it's coming to your theaters in July 21st. You'll be able to sit down and watch 3 hours long, or maybe fall asleep during, maybe take a pee during, maybe wait till it comes to your Peacock later on because
you'll pass your history exam, that's for sure.
Yes.
You'll pass your
history take care of that. But anyways, everybody, thank you so much for being here as always on Kruse Control. Thank you, Jacob from IPA Sessions Podcast. You can find him on TikTok. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him everywhere. IPA Sessions Podcast. Find him now. Like, subscribe, do that shit.
Yes,
tap. Get that right now.
Subscribe to my YouTube. I finally made it to 50. I'm so excited. I'm at 50. Now my goal is 100. So come on over. Check it out. I make a bunch of fun little clips and stuff. Watch it. It's great. You'll love it.
Keep it growing.
Which artist you want to see.
Yeah. And we'll be on there too. We'll do a little crossover event too. We'll be on there. We're shooting too. So, we'll talk
tomorrow. I'll release it midsummer. It's going to be excellent.
Can't wait. It'll be fun. But thank you, Jacob, as always, for being here. Appreciate you. We'll have to have you come back soon now that there's this writer's strike. You'll probably have a little bit more time.
Yeah, all I'm doing is a podcast, writing, and listening to you guys. And Joe Bob on Fridays. That's it.
All right. Sabrina, thank you also for being here on Kruse Control, as always. Appreciate you. And she's muted, but I think she's very happy to be here too. I think that's what she said. So
that's exactly what I said. The dogs are barking like crazy. Someone's at the front door. In case you didn't hear the dung dung before I muted myself. So
horrible.
sorry about that.
Horrible. Everybody out there, thank you as always. Please like and subscribe. Join our Patreon if you can. And as always, we got to keep those numbers going. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your uncle, tell your aunt, tell your cousin, your little baby that's crawling around your neighborhood. Tell your chinchilla, your kangaroos, your little like koala bears that are crawling up your tree. I don't know why they're there. They're there anyways. They're having fun. They're having babies. They're making love. It's cool. Tell them to watch Kruse Control. All right, everybody. Tell everybody, because if you tell them, we'll keep it going. We'll keep coming back for you because we got Top Won't Stop. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm losing my mind.
Woo,
Take care, everybody. And we'll see you on Wednesday, as always. Take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.